It's a rescue mission, primarily. A divorced couple's child is lost on the island through a parasailing accident. This divorced couple has to reunite and pretend, excuse me, to be married so that they can lure Alan Grant into helping them, uh, you know, find their son. The interesting thing about having Sam Neill in this is that I wanted to see a different Alan Grant. I wanted to see Alan Grant who's been through this experience, barely survived the island, and how it's changed him in the intervening 8 years or whatever it's been. And then to throw him back on the island, that makes it all that more interesting because he really doesn't want to be there. He's been there and has been chased by dinosaurs. You know, what would his first thought be when he realized he's going to go through it all again, you know? And so the Alan Grant character in this film is a little more cynical. He's a little more hardened by his experience on Isla Nublar, and he's a little more sarcastic maybe, you know. But, of course, he's a lovable Alan Grant that we all know. In the end, the destruction of the airplane was probably the longest sequence to shoot that we had. It's not very long in the film. It's just a couple of minutes. But the cast was in that airplane for weeks, you know. I mean, it had to crash, first of all. It had to then come out of the tree and fall, land on the ground, get kicked around by the dinosaur and crushed, all with them inside of it, you know. And then they escape and run for their lives. But you know, they insisted on doing. They didn't insist, but they agreed to do all of those stunts themselves. I know that all kids, my kids, you know, are fascinated by dinosaurs. I think it's knowing that there were these things that used to walk the earth, you know, that these 50-foot long giant lizards, you know, it's that in itself is fascinating. I think the other part of it is it's about treasure, you know. For me anyway. I mean, I've been on 3 digs now with Jack, and on the last one, the last dig last summer, I was walking along and I saw something on the ground I thought might be a bone. Turned out to be a rock, but next to it was something sticking out of the ground. It was about a quarter inch, and I was down on the ground so I could see it. You know, I looked over and I saw this thing, and I said, "What's that?" I started scraping it out, and it was a T-Rex tooth. You know, it was poking out of the ground where it had fallen. You know, no sooner than 65 million years ago, no more recent than 65 million years ago. I think this is one of the great franchises of all time, and I love the movies, the Jurassic Park movies. And I also was very flattered that Steven would ask me to do it, you know, because it's a lot of trust that he's placing in me. It's a huge responsibility.